guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tori. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys 5 fantasy books that I have not started reading yet because I am a giant chicken. Okay, so all of these books I know I will probably love, and that's why I have them on my shelves in the first place. The thing is, all of these are incredibly intimidating to me for one reason or another. I need you guys in the comments to give me some confidence boost. I need you to tell me at the end of this video which of these books you've read and loved and why, because I know that all of these books are huge favorites. I'm just terrified of them for whatever reason. So let's get into this. The first one is Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. You might be wondering, Tori, that doesn't make any sense. One of your favorite series of all time in fantasy is Red Rising, also by Pierce Brown. And you're absolutely right. Iron Gold scares me. I own it. I own Dark Age. I've been eagerly awaiting the release of Lightbringer and what is the last one? Red God, I believe. I'm so excited to read more about these characters who I have absolutely adored for many years. I think I'm honestly a little bit afraid to jump back into this world because I love the characters so much. I don't know if any of you get this, but I'm afraid that I'm not going to love this as much as the original trilogy, and that scares me. It's probably completely unfounded because I have also heard lots of people that absolutely loved this book and loved the continuation of the story of Darrow and his motley crew of peeps. I'm very, very, very here for that. However, I want to love it so much that I've kind of become very intimidated by it. At this point, I know that I'm probably going to love this. I love these characters so much that I just want more of them in whatever capacity I am able to get it. I do plan on reading these very shortly because, as most of you probably have heard, Lightbringer, which is book 6, will be coming out, I believe, next May? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it is next spring-ish. I know that Pierce Brown has taken a little bit of time in between the release of Dark Age and Lightbringer, and I think that was good because I know that he really needed to slow down and kind of consider how he was telling Darrow's story and make sure that it was authentic to the character and the story that had come before it. So I really have to commend him for taking a little bit of time to slow down and look at making sure that Darrow's voice and story is as authentic as it should be. Next up on my list is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. This book, I know I'm probably going to love. I have heard from so many people that the payoff at the end of this series is one of their favorites, and I'm so excited for that. I love a good mystery within a fantasy story where you kind of are gathering clues all the way up until the end when you finally realize what the author was doing the whole time. This book and series in general kind of scares me. These are chonker books, which everybody knows I'm not afraid of chonker books, but every time I kind of get started in a new series, I do definitely get a little bit nervous because it is a commitment. I'm almost nervous that I won't get it, if that makes sense. And I want to get it. I want so much to get it. I always get a little bit nervous when it sounds like within a particular series that you need a little bit more of an intellectual read. So I know from some of my very trusted friends who have read this series that it is a fabulous, fabulous story. And I am really looking forward to reading this. I finally bought a physical copy for my TBR because I didn't have enough books to read, clearly. And yeah, I am very excited to read this, but I would really love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments. Following that same train of thought, we're gonna move to The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is another book that I have heard lavish praise about. I know that it is a very deep, like metaphorical, intellectual fantasy story that has a beautiful payoff, and that N.K. Jemisin does a beautiful job with the world building and the story overall. I am, again, very excited to read this because I have heard so many good things about N.K. Jemisin's writing. I am looking forward to taking her masterclass, hopefully at some point on the website masterclass.com, if you want to go check that out. It's one of those things where I want to be smart enough to get it, and when I've come to books like this, and reading Malazan Book of the Fallen was like this for me as well, I kind of have to stop myself and dial it back in and remind myself that it's okay to just read the story for what it is and just take it one page at a time, go with the flow, and not try so hard to read into everything that is happening and just see what comes as I'm reading it. That is something that worked really well for me with Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I am definitely going to employ that same thought process when I get to the 5th season. Next on my list is The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee, and this book has been an absolute darling of the fantasy booktube community going around, and I have heard so many people describe this book and this series as a whole as one of the most underrated fantasy series currently available to readers. I absolutely believe that that is the case, and I am so excited to see what all of the fuss is about. For these, I think honestly the only thing holding me back is the size, because these are chonker books. Right? They're huge books. The second one, The Blackest Heart, they're just massive books. Having read the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, I think I'm now a little bit gun-shy about giant books just because they do take so long to read. However, that being said, I am fully anticipating that Brian Lee Durfee, who is an incredible person, and he has a great YouTube channel, I will link it down in the comments below. You should absolutely go subscribe to him. I think that what I'm expecting from Durfee's books is that he will rekindle that excitement for the long end game with characters in a big fantasy book like this. I have seen some fabulous reviews of this series by Mike's Book Reviews. I've also seen one by Patrick Leo, and I will link both of those reviews down in the comments because honestly, both of those amazing booktube gentlemen have really gotten me excited to check these books out and see what all the fuss is about, because these books are taking booktube by storm suddenly, and I am so here for it. To my last one on this list, and that is The Lord of the Rings. I think these don't really need that much of an explanation because while I know that a lot of people had this series read to them when they were young, I didn't, and I didn't read it as a young adult. I will be reading it for the first time. I grew up on the original Peter Jackson films, and those were a huge part of my late childhood, and I absolutely adore them to bits and pieces. Reading the books always kind of intimidated me simply because they are a more classic fantasy, so it's going to have a denser feel to it than a lot of what is available in modern fantasy, and that's on me, definitely not on Tolkien, because these are such a huge These books are such a huge integral part of why the fantasy community is what it is today, and Tolkien has inspired so many incredible writers, and that's amazing. And I really love this story and the characters in it, so I can't wait to actually read these. I have quite a few friends that are reading or rereading them, some for like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, etc. time. So I know that these books continue to be a favored classic for a lot of fantasy readers, and I absolutely love that. These make me very nervous because I have such a strong image of these characters in my head that I didn't want to overshadow the actual original text with it, if that makes sense. And also, I have started The Fellowship of the Ring multiple times, and I never get past Tom Bombadil, which I know is a common problem. And to all of you Tom Bombadil enthusiasts out there, I appreciate you. You are absolutely valid, and I am so sorry because I am just not one of them. But I am determined, and I'm hoping that in 2023, this is going to be a huge goal of mine to get through this trilogy. Knowing how nostalgic they are for so many people, I think I felt a little bit of an imposter syndrome actually with these, that I was coming in so late. I am very excited to go back into such a beautiful classic world and meet up with some of my favorite characters in a whole new format. I can't wait to see what the buzz is about with all of these books. Let me know down in the comments if you have read any of these, what your opinions are. Definitely check out the links in the description box for any reviews on these books that I personally found invigorating and exciting. This is another example of why you should shout it to the rooftops when you absolutely love a book, because you never know who might be waffling back and forth on like, ooh, should I read this? I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm hesitant. And then they might see your review or hear you talking about it and be like, you know what? I want to have that experience too. So if you love a book, drop it down in the comments below. Even if it's not on the list that I just gave you in this video, let me know down in the comments what was a book that maybe you were intimidated to start reading and how you enjoyed it. I hope you are all having a fabulous week. I hope you are all enjoying 5-star reads, and I will see you in the next video.